Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Saturday, September 27, 2025. And in the news this evening, high alert issued for missing Manchester boy. Police have activated a high alert for 12-year-old Jaden Smith of Wales District, Newport, Manchester, who has been missing since Friday, September 26. Jaden is of dark complexion, slim build, and about 152 centimeters or 5 feet tall. Reports from the Alligator Pond police indicated that he was last seen at home around 6:15 a.m. on Friday, dressed in a khaki uniform and brown shoes. He has not been seen or heard from since. Investigators are urging anyone with information on Jaden's whereabouts to contact the Alligator Pond police at 876-224-3113, the police emergency number 119, or the nearest police station. St. Elizabeth man charged with wounding with intent. Police have charged 38-year-old Alcon Bartley of Windsor District, Silo in St. Elizabeth with wounding with intent following a shooting incident in his community earlier this year. The police report that about 2 p.m. on February 23, Bartley and another man got into an argument. During the dispute, Bartley allegedly drew a firearm from his waistband and fired several shots at the man, hitting him. The incident was reported to the police and Bartley was later arrested. He was placed on an identification parade where the injured man positively identified him. Following a question and answer session, investigators charged him with the offense. Bartley's court date is being finalized. 3 people, including a woman, arrested following Portmore gun seizure. A police operation in Portmore, St. Catherine, on Saturday resulted in the arrest of 3 persons and the seizures of a gun and ammunition. Reports are that about 5 a.m., members of the Special Operational Unit went to Portsea Drive in Portsmouth, Portmore, and carried out a search of a property. The police said during the search, a 6 Sawyer 9mm pistol, fitted with a magazine containing 16 rounds of ammunition, was found wrapped in a towel, while an additional 4 rounds were discovered in a chest of drawers. 3 occupants of the property, 2 men and a woman, were taken into police custody. The names of the suspects, who are aged 24, 32 and 35 years old, are being withheld pending further investigation by police. Man charged for sexual assault of 7-year-old girl. The Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse has charged a 27-year-old man with the sexual assault of a 7-year-old girl. The man, who hails from Yorkton, St. Catherine, was charged on Friday. He is answering to charges of rape, sexual touching, and forcible abduction. It is alleged that about 2 p.m., the complainant was walking home from school in St. Catherine when the accused reportedly grabbed her and dragged her to the rear of a premises where he sexually assaulted her. He later tried to leave the area by taxi. However, the vehicle was intercepted by alert residents who held him and handed him over to the police. Road deaths climbed by 17 or 6%, says ITA. 17 more people were killed on the nation's roads as at Friday, September 26, when compared to the similar 9-month period in 2024, according to the Island Traffic Authority. The ITA, in its latest daily statistics released on Friday, shared that 289 people have been killed in 253 fatal crashes since the start of the year. It said fatalities increased by 6% or 17 more deaths when compared to prior year, while fatal crashes increased by 9%. The increase in the death toll is largely driven by a huge spike in fatal crashes involving private motor car drivers and their passengers, pedal cyclists, and pillion passengers. As at Friday, 67 drivers of private motor cars had been killed. This compares to 48 in the similar period in 2024. At the same time, 47 private motorcar passengers died this year compared to 32 last year. The ITA is also reporting that 9 billion passengers died during the first 9 months of 2024. This has risen to 14 in 2025. And the pedal cyclists saw a sharp increase in fatalities among their ranks. 21 have been killed so far this year compared to 12 in 2024. Of note is that motorcyclists have seen a reduction in fatalities among their ranks. 90 were killed in 2024 compared to 82 so far this year. Nonetheless, this group of road users accounts for 28% of all road fatalities since the start of the year. Private motor vehicle drivers account for 20%, with their passengers accounting for 16%. With 52 deaths this year, pedestrians account for 18% of the overall fatalities. Vulnerable road users, pedestrians, pedal cyclists, motorcyclists, and the pillion passengers account for 58% of the fatalities since the start of the year. Meanwhile, males account for 84% and the females account for 16% of fatalities since the start of the year. Maintenance worker charged with murder following stabbing. A 26-year-old maintenance worker has been charged with murder in connection with the fatal stabbing of a man in Inverness, Alexandria on Wednesday. Charged is Janardo Wilmot of Mile End, Ocherios. The deceased has been identified as 34-year-old Chadroy Nash, a tailor of St. Dacre, Alexandria. According to reports from the Alexandria police, Wilmot was in the Inverness area around 8:50 p.m. when he saw his girlfriend in Nash's company. An argument developed between the two men, during which Wilmot allegedly used a knife to stab Nash multiple times. Nash was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Following police investigations, Wilmot was arrested and later charged on Friday, September 26. His court date is being finalized. JCF reaffirms commitment to body-worn cameras amid criticism. The Jamaica Constabulary Force has moved to clarify its position on the rollout of body-worn cameras following what it describes as misleading commentary in some sections of the media. In a statement on Saturday, the JCF said it remains fully committed to the national deployment of BWCs, stressing that delays have to do more with the procurement and the budgetary constraints than reluctance on the part of the police. For several months, we have publicly acknowledged that the force is actively engaged in the procurement of an additional 1,000 body-worn cameras, a process that is lengthy and complex, the JCF said. Yet rather than recognizing this as an update in the spirit of transparency, some outlets have chosen to refrain this information as a response to public pressure. This is not only inaccurate, it is disingenuous. The JCF emphasized that the current limited use of cameras is not due to resistance from the rank and file, but instead reflects the challenges of equipping more than 8,000 frontline personnel. Even with 1,000 new units expected soon, the force noted significant coverage gaps will remain. The statement also pushed back against the calls from rights groups such as Jamaicans for Justice and the Independent Commission of Investigations for mandatory body-worn camera use, insisting that the JCF will not be dictated to on matters of operational deployment. However, it said the High Command remains open to dialogue grounded in facts, not assumptions or media narratives. Acknowledging concerns about the high number of police-involved fatalities, the JCF said it shares the view that the figure is unacceptably high. It outlined the three approaches to reducing deadly encounters: lowering operational output, which is dismissed as unrealistic, urging criminals to cease using deadly force, and thoroughly investigating each fatal incident with accountability where necessary. We support every lawful investigation, the force said, noting that the majority of cases probed by Indicom end with officers being cleared of wrongdoing. This is the mature posture of a force committed to modernization not a force resisting change. The JCF called on stakeholders to engage with the facts and work collaboratively to address both public safety and accountability. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.